Hello, and thanks for watching this presentation of our study on the use of Twitter in youth civic education, presented at the Society for Information Technology and Teacher Education 2020 conference. My name is Amy Chapman, and I am at Teachers College, Columbia University. I co-authored this paper with Christine Greenhow from Michigan State University. Thank you for participating in CITE's virtual conference this year. We hope that you are finding ways to stay healthy and cope in this chaotic time. U.S. public schools have been expected to teach students how to be active and intelligent citizens, yet young people's civic engagement has been on the decline for decades. Civic education scholars call for new conceptions of civic engagement and new pedagogies that reflect the digital participatory culture. Yet civic education continues to primarily support traditional types of youth civic engagement. While students are turning to social media for new forms of civic participation, the integration of social media in K-12 civics teaching has been little explored. This study seeks to address that gap. It contributes to the civic education and social media and education literatures by examining the nature of high school teachers' experience of using Twitter to teach civics. This study is informed by three intersecting literatures: civic education, civic engagement, and social media in education. Civic education aims to prepare youth for participation in civil society. Traditional approaches to civic education emphasize students' content knowledge, for example, knowledge of the three branches of the United States government, as well as becoming a responsible and engaged citizen. Best practices in civic education emphasize open and democratic classrooms where students have input, participatory pedagogies that foster interactivity, such as debates about current events, and connecting students' lives and engaging them in the community, such as having students volunteer at polling places during elections. Traditional concepts of and approaches to measuring civic engagement have emphasized fulfilling one's civic duty through voting, attending town halls, or writing letters to the editor of the local newspaper. But today's civic scholars propose new concepts and routes to civic engagement that build on individuals' interests and issue-driven advocacy, for example, climate change. Social media offer affordances for bridging these divides. In fact, people are already using social media like Twitter for civic engagement. Think of the hashtag Occupy Wall Street, hashtag Arab Spring, or hashtag #MeToo movements. Research on social media and education has focused largely on higher education and college students. We know very little about the integration of social media into K-12 formal education, or within civics teaching in particular. This study of social media in K-12 civic education aims to bridge the gap between in-school and out-of-school civic practices. This study combined two methodologies: phenomenology and qualitative case study. Phenomenology studies several participants' experiences with a phenomenon of interest to understand its meaning. In this case, the phenomenon of interest was teaching civics with Twitter. We also used a qualitative case study approach, which allowed us to explore the pedagogical choices of each teacher and to compare these across cases. Using both methodologies allowed us to analyze their meaning-making of including Twitter in teaching civics while also examining their pedagogical choices and reflections on those choices. A purposeful sample of 5 high school social studies teachers were recruited via email, outreach to schools of education and civic organizations, and through Twitter. They were located across the country and were veteran teachers who had taught civics with Twitter before. We conducted phenomenological interviews, which are semi-structured interviews with open-ended questions designed to provide participants with the opportunity to richly describe their experiences. Our data analysis was intended to better understand the teacher's experience of using Twitter in civic education. Data were coded in 2 stages, first through open coding, in which no a priori codebook was established, and secondly, theory-based coding to analyze the data against a model of constructivist teaching with Twitter developed by the first author. Data analysis was iterative, moving through reading transcripts, memoing, writing, and revising. We looked for counterexamples and enlisted peer reviewers to ensure the credibility and trustworthiness of our analysis. Through the collective analysis of the teachers' experiences, we found that teachers all considered the specific affordances of Twitter, compared these to other social media platforms, and assessed the relevance of using Twitter for students' learning. We identified 3 specific affordances of Twitter that aligned with teachers' concerns for teaching civics. First, Twitter connects students to those outside the classroom. Second, that Twitter can bring outside topics into the classroom in real time. And third, that Twitter is inherently participatory. Teachers wanted to connect their students with others outside of the classroom, including governmental officials, subject matter experts, other students, and their own parents. Using Twitter allowed teachers to connect with world events, such as the Russian invasion of Crimea, or live sessions of Congress. It also provided students with a way to read and interact with the news, and a way for students and teachers to work through identifying fake news. The quote on your screen comes from one of our teachers who talked about the need to find ways to communicate with government officials in the ways that they are actually communicating. She found for this purpose Twitter to be extremely effective. This study adds to the underexplored field of Twitter in K-12 education. The study suggests that integrating social media, such as Twitter, can help civics teachers to amplify student voice and foster student agency. Teachers in this study planned learning activities that were based on their belief that students' opinions and work needed to be seen as valuable contributions to society. Using Twitter with their students gave these teachers a way of communicating this belief to students and to others. Teachers used Twitter to encourage students to participate and share their opinions and work with the larger community. Students were asked to participate with elected officials, other student groups, and subject matter experts on Twitter, communicating to both the students and the consumers of their tweets that their contributions mattered. As a result, the ways in which the teachers in this study used Twitter served to amplify students' voices and fostered students' agency. In short, students felt that they could and should do something in their society. These new insights align with the updated National Education Technology Plan, which calls for teachers to personalize learning in order to promote equity and accessibility for all students. By promoting student voice and student agency, teachers in this study were personalizing and expanding learning in diverse, equitable, and accessible ways. Given the importance of educational technology and civic education for both pre-service and in-service teachers, the study's findings have implications for teacher education. Thank you for watching this presentation. To learn more about our work or just to connect in this time of physical distancing, feel free to reach out to us via email or find us on Twitter. We hope that you and those you care for are well and safe, and thanks again.